Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the world of mini PCs.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, there's some really interesting stuff happening over there, and specifically, we're going to be looking at an article that we saw from Tom's Hardware about the Geekom QS series.
Okay.
And this looks like it could be the first mini PC that's going to market that's actually using Qualcomm's Snapdragon X Elite chip, which is pretty exciting stuff, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And, we've been hearing a lot about Qualcomm and their plans to bring Snapdragon to more PCs, right?
Yeah, exactly. At Computex this year.
Tom Putix.
Big announcement. And I mean, a lot of people are wondering, what does this mean for the future of computing? Like, is this something that I should actually care about? Or is this just, a cool spec on a spec sheet?
Yeah. Well, I think it's definitely something to keep an eye on, because Qualcomm has traditionally been really focused on efficiency and battery life with their chips, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen that with their success in the laptop market.
Yeah.
But now with this move into mini PCs, it kind of raises the question of like, how is that going to translate to a desktop environment, where battery life isn't really the primary concern?
Yeah. Is raw power going to be there? Like, how does that all shake out?
Right, exactly. And, some experts are kind of skeptical and saying, well, Snapdragon chips haven't really been known for their high performance capabilities.
Right.
But I think the thing to remember here is that mini PCs they're mini.
Yeah.
They're not these big power-hungry machines.
Right.
So maybe the Snapdragon X Elite, with its focus on efficiency, could actually be a really good fit.
That's a good point. And we've seen other mini PCs that are already doing pretty well using processors that were originally designed for laptops, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the Minisforum 79DS7, for example.
Right. Yeah. And the
Or the Ataman G7 tie-up.
Atom Man G7 Tie High. Yeah. So there's definitely precedent for this.
Yeah, it seems like, finding that balance between performance and efficiency is really key in this form factor.
Yeah. And maybe with mini PCs, it's not necessarily about having the absolute most powerful chip, but about having something that's optimized for the size and for the purpose of the device.
Right, exactly.
Now, the article did mention that there are potentially some downsides to using a Snapdragon chip in a mini PC, like lack of expandability and limited GPU support. Can you talk a bit more about that?
Yeah, so one of the things with Snapdragon X is that they use what's called integrated memory.
Okay.
So unlike a traditional desktop PC where you can usually swap out your RAM modules, to upgrade it later,
Right.
the RAM here is actually built into the chip itself.
Oh, wow.
So you don't have that same flexibility to upgrade it later on.
So less tinkering for all the tech tinkerers out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then on the GPU side, the limited support also means that it's probably not going to be a great choice for serious gamers.
Okay, so not a gaming powerhouse, got it. But if
Sure.
it's not really for like the hardcore gamers, then who do you think is the target audience for a Snapdragon-powered mini PC like this Geekom QS?
Well, I think it could be a really compelling option for users who have more like basic computing needs,
Okay.
things like web browsing, working on documents,
Yeah.
streaming movies, everyday tasks like that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's trying to replace your, gaming rig or your professional workstation.
Right, so the everyday user who doesn't need to do heavy video editing or run complex simulations or anything like that.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think the real selling point here could be the affordability.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine getting solid performance for those everyday tasks in a tiny energy efficient package and at a really attractive price point.
Yeah.
That's a pretty compelling proposition
Yeah,
for a lot of people.
absolutely. That affordability, that could be a big deal, especially as we see, more and more people looking for alternatives to traditional desktops.
Yeah, for sure.
And speaking of alternatives, we've got laptops, we've got tablets, we've got smartphones. Like, where do mini PCs even fit into this whole like landscape of personal computing? Are they carving out like their own little niche?
I think they are.
Yeah.
And I think that, this move towards Snapdragon chips could really accelerate that trend.
Okay.
What we're seeing is like a shift towards more specialized devices, right? Where, not every device needs to be this like do-it-all powerhouse.
Right. It's like the right tool for the job. Sometimes you
Yeah.
need a scalpel, sometimes you need a sledgehammer.
Exactly. And, in this case, the Geekom QS, it seems like they're really going for that sweet spot,
Yeah.
of affordability, efficiency, and just enough power for that everyday user.
Yeah.
It's not trying to replace your gaming rig,
Right.
or your professional workstation.
Makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. And speaking of the Geekom QS, the article only showed us that one leaked image of the exterior design.
Right.
Did anything in particular stand out to you about that?
I thought it was interesting that they chose to really highlight, the power button, the USB-A ports, and the 3.5 millimeter combo jack.
Okay.
Those are all pretty standard features.
Yeah.
But I think it speaks to, who they're targeting. It's about that practicality and ease of use.
Yeah, no flashy RGB lighting, no like crazy design elements, just like a simple functional design.
Exactly.
Gets the job done.
Keep it simple.
Yeah. And, of course, this is all based on, a leaked image and some early reports.
Right.
We still don't have like the full picture yet.
We don't know the specs or the pricing or when it's coming out.
Right, exactly. It's early days. But even at this stage, this story, I think it sparks some really interesting questions about, where is computing headed?
Absolutely.
What's the future look like?
Yeah. If this Geekom QS is successful, it could signal a much broader shift in the PC landscape.
Okay.
We might see more manufacturers embracing these, energy-efficient ARM-based processors.
Okay.
Especially for devices that are aimed at those everyday users.
So this could be the start of something much bigger.
Yeah.
It's not just about one mini PC.
Right.
It's about, potentially like changing how we think about personal computers.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we really need all that power in bulk, for just checking email or browsing the web?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe the future of computing is more about finding that right device for the right task.
A device that's tailored to your specific needs,
Exactly.
whether you're a gamer, a creative professional, or just, someone who wants to stay connected and get things done. And that kind of brings us to the question of like, why should you, the listener, care about Snapdragon chips making their way into mini PCs?
Well, I think for one, it means more choices, right?
Yeah.
More competition in the market. And that's always a good thing for consumers.
More options, potentially lower prices.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it also, it challenges that traditional notion of like what a personal computer can be.
Okay.
It opens up the possibility of, having these powerful yet incredibly compact and energy efficient devices that can handle those everyday tasks with ease.
It's exciting to think about, where this could all go right.
Yeah.
If something as small as the Geekom QS can do, all those everyday tasks, what does that mean for like the future of work, entertainment, how we connect with each other?
Yeah, I think it's a shift in perspective, right?
Yeah.
Like moving away from this idea that, bigger is always better.
Right.
Maybe the future of computing is more about having a device that fits seamlessly into your lifestyle,
Yeah.
rather than like dictating it.
Right. So to kind of wrap things up, it seems like Qualcomm is making a pretty serious push into this mini PC market.
Yeah.
And this Geekom QS is maybe just like our first glimpse of what's to come.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And, it's not just about the hardware itself, right?
Right.
It's what it represents,
Yeah.
a potential change in how we think about personal computing,
Yeah.
moving away from that one-size-fits-all approach.
Instead, embracing a future where devices are more tailored to specific needs and uses. We might have powerful desktops for demanding tasks, ultra-portable mini PCs for everyday use and everything in between.
Right.
So yeah, the Geekom QS, with its focus on affordability and everyday tasks, it could really be a sign of what's to come.
Yeah, for sure.
A future where powerful computing is more accessible, more integrated into our lives than ever before.
Absolutely.
Well, that's about all the time we have for today's deep dive into the world of Snapdragon and mini PCs, but I want to leave you with this thought. What do you think the future of computing looks like? Is this the beginning of a major shift? Are we going to see power efficiency and compact design become just as important as raw processing power? Let us know what you think. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive, and until next time, keep exploring.